Well, the top story tonight, President Trump's executive order that has just been issued on social media. The president's order empowers the FCC to review Section 230, as it's called, of the 1996 Communications Decency Act that gives social media platforms protection, allowing them to post content on their forums as they see fit. This order also will forward complaints of bias filed with the White House over to the FTC, and the order will pull taxpayer dollars from social media platforms that engage in censorship. Well, joining us now to assess this in its early moments, the order having just been signed by the president, Brendan Carr, commissioner of the FCC. He previously served as the FCC's general counsel. Brendan, let me start with this order. Your reaction to the president's understandable frustration and his response in the form of this executive order.
Thanks, Lou. This is really welcome news. Look, since the 2016 election, the far left has hopped from hoax to hoax to hoax to explain how it lost to President Trump at the ballot box. One thing they've done is look to social media platforms, and they put pressure on them for the crime, in their view, of staying neutral in the 2016 election. And they're committed to not letting these platforms stay neutral in the run-up to 2020. So this step by President Trump shines a light on some of that activity and tees up some steps that can be taken.
Well, you use the word neutral with quotes of facetiousness around it, because those social media platforms are anything but neutral, as we know. Google, for example, in its platforms, decidedly making a choice in the election to be about as anti-Trump as one could imagine. And this nonsense coming from Jack Dorsey, the founder and CEO of Twitter, to say that some of the comments that have been made saying his approach does not make Twitter an arbiter of truth. Facebook's Zuckerberg saying that he doesn't want his platform to pretend to be such, accusing effectively Twitter of doing so. It's ridiculous, some of the comments that have resulted from the Twitter folks trying to explain their idiotic attempts to limit the free speech of the President of the United States. It cannot be condoned rationally, can it?
Look, Twitter made the decision to take on the President of the United States in a partisan political debate. And it did so in really a disingenuous way. It got its facts wrong. It tried to challenge the president's assertion that when you have massive mail-in ballots, there's going to naturally be voter fraud. There's no authority higher than Jerry Nadler, who made that exact same point. We also see it with Facebook. They stood up this new oversight board, and they stacked it with really people that are emotionally, viscerally against the president. Pam Karlan is on that board. You may remember that she was famous for testifying in favor of impeachment of the president and had that infamous Barron line. Look, if you were to hand pick a group to tilt an election against the incumbent president, I don't think it would look much different than the oversight board that Facebook has put together. So I think this executive order is welcome news, including calling on the Federal Trade Commission. Look, if you're any other type of business and you represent to Congress and the public that you're a neutral platform and you engage in some of the conduct that we're seeing, you'd be held liable for sort of an unfair business practice at that point.
Well, the president served notice, more than sufficient notice, that he was not going to be trifled with by big tech, pencil-necked geeks in the form of one, particularly Jack Dorsey, who has tried to become his nemesis in Silicon Valley and as of yesterday had succeeded. I don't think he probably likes the position he now finds himself in. Your thoughts about how this will unwind, how it will move from here?
Here's what's really important about the president's executive order. Everybody has free speech, First Amendment rights. What's different about these platforms is that Congress in the 1990s afforded them a very special and unique legal liability and protection that all other political actors don't enjoy. And that maybe made sense when you had the prodigy messaging board that was in Congress's mind. But flash forward 20 years. These are now the largest most powerful corporations when it comes to speech. So I think it's entirely appropriate for the president to say, is it time to take another look at Section 230 and whether that makes sense given where we are today?
And it clearly does not make sense given the awesome power of these social media platforms and these big tech corporations. I assume that we'll see that redressed. There will be countervailing influences at work over the next months. We appreciate it. Brendan Carr, FCC Commissioner.